Welcome into this edition of Meet the Bird Gang, where we take you through the 2020 Firebirds lineup, and we're going to take a trip back today to a 2019 Firebird, a former University of Virginia baseball pitcher, Andrew Abbott. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time. First of all, how are you doing? Everything going all right by you down there, down south?
Thank you for having me. We're making it down here, trying to stay busy. Corona's hit everywhere, so definitely just trying to stay healthy, stay active, and try to stay safe. So
it's plenty to do. What are you doing to stay fresh on the baseball side of things?
Just throwing into a net or to a person if they're feeling good about the corona and safety violations and all that kind of stuff. Just trying to lift wherever I can. I have a little room in the high school that I use sometimes. So, just doing those things, almost every day, just trying to stay active, keep my hopes up.
And still plenty of time to go. We're less than a month away from draft day, but let's take it back to the beginning for a second, because you grew up playing a couple of sports at a pretty high level. You got introduced to baseball pretty early on, but you were also a pretty competitive swimmer from what I hear.
Yeah, that was my mom. My dad's side always was baseball. My mom's side was always swimming. So she introduced me, I think I was like 5 or 6, honestly, and it kind of took off from there. But once I played baseball for the first time, I fell in love instantly, and kind of my family kind of knew I was destined to play baseball.
You got high recognition at the high school level in both sports, but UVA was the path for you. You went there, you played baseball. What was the process of getting through high school and getting recruited to join the Cavs?
I think just being from a small county in the southern part of Virginia, it's just branching out, playing with these different teams. I was lucky enough to be on Kane's national team, run by Jeff Petty and all them. We travel not international, but domestic, worldwide. So, we played in Las Vegas, LA, and all those. So the exposure level was very, very high, and it wasn't that hard to get noticed when you played on that team. But, UVA was my dream school. So after the tournament we put there, I was like, yeah, I'm taking it. I can't resist.
I mean, yeah, Kane's National is definitely one of the most premier, if not the most premier travel ball organizations out there. And hey, you reflected that in your high school play too. You had a .28 ERA your senior year and easily got named Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Virginia. Got drafted by the Yankees, but aired on that to attend UVA. And you did pretty well your first season, got named to the All-ACC freshman team. So it seems like you adjusted pretty well. What were the main differences you noticed once you got to the college level?
Mainly it was just, adjusting to the hitters. High school, I used to be able to overpower everybody. And, coming into college, little scrawny left-hander from Southern Virginia, you got to make some adjustments based off of your velo and your pitches and stuff. And I had 2 pretty good pitches in high school. So Coach Case put me in the bullpen, and, that's all she wrote. Like, I just kind of took off, learned from the guys that had been there 3 to 4 years. They told me everything I needed to know, and then kind of just took off from there.
Yeah, I was talking with Coach Kelly earlier about how there is the type of the UVA pitcher, the tall, lanky kind of pitcher mold. You definitely fit that mold too, and you used it pretty well. So you keep doing well at UVA, and then you get the opportunity to join Orleans in the Cape Cod League. What was that process of getting connected with Orleans, and what was your first impression once you set foot on the Cape?
I honestly didn't know much about it. All these other guys on my team were signing summer ball contracts to like NECBL, PG, and all these kind of different leagues. And I was kind of just the only one who was sitting there, didn't have a contract, was kind of like, what am I doing in the summer? And then, Coach Kays and Coach Oak were like, oh, yeah, you're going to sign and go to play for Coach Kelly Nixon in Orleans. And I was like, okay, excuse me, I'm really excited about it, like I've heard great things about the Cape. I've heard it's the #1 league out there that college, players want to go play in. And, the competition is going to be really high. So that's the best thing to try and make the next step forward in my game is to play against the best. And, what to expect from there, you don't know what to expect, honestly. There's a great deal of guys that are the best in their respective leagues and, in their schools and stuff. So you kind of just have to go out there and adjust like you would in college because it's a different animal playing teams that are loaded with talent, up and down the lineup, up and down the pitching mound and stuff. So it was definitely a fun experience.
What was your favorite memory from your time in Orleans?
Oh, that's tough. I would just say just being around the different types of guys, honestly. I played with some big names in the draft, a couple years ago. Um, and then I played with some big names that are going to be in this draft this year as well. So, it's definitely just mind-boggling to see how baseball connects so many people worldwide, and this is a prime example of that happening. So I think those relationships that you form there can't be taken.
Yeah, the relationships are one of the big things that I feel sad that I'm going to miss on the Cape this
Hmm.
summer. But you had plenty of time to marinate those in. And let's stick with Orleans for a little bit. Just outside of the baseball sphere, you have some buddies, you got an off day. Where are you going?
Nauset Beach, 100%. Probably with my buddy Cole Wilcox from Georgia. He'd go fishing at 6 a.m. Me and I had Nick Frasso and a couple other guys as roommates up there. So we'd wake up at like 10 or 11 on an off day. We'd go we'd go grab a burrito from, I can't remember the name of it, but it's right there beside the field. And then we'd immediately go right to the beach. We stay there for hours. I mean, hours. Burn up, come back, and your host mom's like, "You guys didn't put on sunscreens, did you?" And I was like, "No, we didn't." Then you kind of just hang out. You might watch some. I know College World Series was going on during that time, so we'd probably throw on the game that's late night, sit down and watch that, and get up and get ready to play another game. So I mean, it's pretty basic, but that's what we do.
Got any fun stories from the beach?
Uh, nothing too fun. I mean, I'd probably say like we were swimming in the ocean, or yeah, in the ocean one time, and there's seals. I've never seen a seal up close and personal, and I mean, he was probably 20, 30 feet from me. So I mean, that's pretty fun experience, but and that's pretty lame, but that's about the best one I got.
All right, fair enough. And hey, you just finished the game. Hypothetically, it's an early one, so most places are still open. Where are you getting a bite?
Oh man. Oh, okay. So there's like a couple places. If you're in like a seafood kind of mood, you're going to the barn for some lobster. You got $25 to burn on some lobster tail. Um, if you're kind of the more protein kind of red meat guy, you're gonna go grab a burger at the snack the shack or something. I can't remember the name
The
of it, but it
knack?
was right the knack. That's what it is. Yeah, yeah, it was the knack. That was one of my favorite places eating there. You like we were talking about earlier. You get bang for your buck. You pay $7, $8, you get a burger, a large thing of fries, and a drink, and you're ready to go. There's one of those two places definitely. Me and teammates would definitely go there all the time.
That all sounds fantastic. And hey, maybe when I can eventually make it up to Orleans, I'll definitely hit up those locations. And let's go back to the baseball side of it for a little bit. So you had that time in Orleans, and then last summer you got the opportunity to go with Team USA. Just tell me a little bit about what that feeling was like to play for your country.
I think I consider it one of the highest honors I've ever had in my life. To play baseball itself is an honor, but to play baseball with USA across your chest just means even more. And to be on that team that's like so talented, has the best of the best, to be considered one of them. It was unreal, honestly. Never been out of the United States either, so traveling to these foreign countries to play, that was an eye-opening experience and definitely one I won't forget.
What's the trip you remember the most?
I would probably say the Japan trip, honestly. The Japan trip, it's been a long-standing battle of the two giants in the, USA versus Japan. You want to watch that series. Um, I can't remember what date it was, but the USA hasn't won in Japan in like so many years, like maybe 25 years or something. I can't remember exactly. But it was like all the hype built up into that series. So like we get done with Taiwan, we fly to Japan. We're going from place to place, playing these guys in different stadiums across the country, seeing all these like cool venues. Eating foreign food, which is something that I never figured out that I would do in my life. But just doing that and taking it all in with teammates. just made it all the more fun.
So what was your favorite playing memory from your time on Team USA?
Um, I would probably say getting the save against Japan in game 3. Um, pretty sticky situation. I came in for Cole Wilcox in Georgia. He was in like maybe 1 out and I think like second and third or something like that. Ended up getting out of that and then pitching the ninth and closing it down for the team. And then letting loose a burst of energy and stuff. Like it's all fun and dandy. Like keep your emotions in check during the game, but after like you win a game like that, you let them burst out. Let out a pretty like scream, roar, whatever you want to call it. That kind of gave us momentum going into the next game. Unfortunately, we didn't win the series, but, we felt good about the way we played. So,
And you mentioned you had a lot of fun with Cole in Orleans too, and you got to have him go along with you to Team USA. How fun was that?
oh, it was awesome. I love Cole in Orleans. He's a big boy from Georgia, loves his fishing, loves his hunting and stuff. So, learning his stories, like what he does at back home, and then having the honor to play with him. I mean, he's really good. He's a talent, very, very talented. He's a big name prospect. So, just being considered, like playing on the same team, even rooming with him in the house was an honor. So, I mean, just utmost respect for the guy.
And back to you for a little bit. You had a good season going at Virginia before this all shut down. What were the main things you were working on improving before heading into the June draft?
In my life in high school and my first 2 years at UVA, I've never really had a changeup. So I've been I told my coach in the off season, I was like, I really want to work on a changeup, even if it's average. I just want to get, something else to throw at the hitters, get a third pitch. So that was the main thing I was working on. Other than that, just going through mechanics, if I had any problems with mechanics, and then, just trying to stay healthy, working with the trainers extra and stuff, just trying to do anything I could to prolong the career basically.
So you've been working on all of that, getting all your throwing in when you can, getting that exercise in when you can. And then there's the aspect of being in contact with teams, which is obviously a very interesting situation given the slimmed down draft this year. And I'm sure there's only so much you're able to tell me, but from what you could tell me, how has it been guiding through this draft process?
You just got to be ready each day. You don't know who's going to call or when they're going to call or whatnot. So, I get up pretty early in the morning most of the time. No call, late morning, early afternoon, just checking in on you most of the time. As we get closer to draft time, I suspect that they're going to get more intense in conversations about like money, signability, that kind of stuff. But right now it's kind of just checking in, make sure you're healthy. Family's doing well. If they have some questions, they'll pop them in on you. You can just answer those really easily. But nothing that's too hard to answer. Right now at least. So.
All right, now let's go back to Andrew, the person, for a couple of minutes. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong when I saw this, did you graduate UVA in 3 years?
Yes, I did.
How did it feel?
Honestly, hadn't really set in yet, but it feels kind of good to feel a little load, off my chest a little bit. I took care of school, don't have to worry about school, and now I get to play baseball, my one true love. Don't have to wake up at 8 a.m. to go to class anymore. All that kind of stuff. That's gonna be fun, definitely down the road, and playing baseball obviously with no other stress is gonna be really nice. So.
All right, and one more thing before I let you go. I want you to describe in one sentence what encapsulates Andrew Abbott, because Coach K gave me a phrase in how he referred to you, and I want to see how closely it compares.
Oh man, he probably came up with a really good one. I gotta think here. Um, oh, I think the one word that describes me is probably determined. You know, I'm not a big guy by any means. I just think I can outwork anybody. That I can have enough heart in this game, enough love for this game that I can push through the challenges that may come to me or may affect me, and work through and become the best baseball player and best person that I can become. So.
Well, I think you're not that far off. He gave me Energizer Bunny.
Okay.
Do you think that
Uh,
fits?
Yeah, that definitely fits. I love firing up the team a little bit, you know.
All right. Well, Andrew, thank you so much and best of luck with the draft process.
Thank you for having me.